I woke up with her on top of me, soft, silent, glowing faintly in the low light. Her large violet eyes stared into mine, pupils expanding with something between panic and wonder. Her breathing was quick, uneven, brushing warmth against my lips. I opened my mouth to speak, but her fingers, cool and delicate, pressed gently against my mouth. "You weren't supposed to wake up." "Not yet," she whispered. My heart stopped. Not just metaphorically, actually skipped. I could feel her heartbeat syncing with mine. Not through touch, but something deeper. Like the rhythm of her soul was knocking on the walls of my own. The room was dim, lit only by the subtle pulse of neon panels embedded in the walls. The station night cycle had kicked in, simulating darkness for us off-worlders. My cot felt smaller than usual, maybe because my alien roommate, Zelari, was straddling me, trembling. I blinked, disoriented. "Zelari. What are you doing?" Her lips trembled. Her long, iridescent hair draped down, brushing against my chest. "It wasn't on purpose. I didn't mean to pull you into it. I thought I had control." "Pull me into what?" She slid off me carefully, her movements slow, graceful. Her skin shimmered faintly, tiny bioluminescent patterns blinking down her arms and collarbone. "The link. I lost hold of the separation protocols. I dreamwalked into you." "Wait," I sat up, head swimming. "You linked with me while I was sleeping?" Zelari's eyes lowered. "I tried not to. But I've been having trouble lately. The emotions, they've been harder to manage. Being near you, feeling you every day, something about your presence makes it harder to shield." I rubbed my temples. "You said it was just a roommate program. That we'd learn about each other's species. I didn't sign up for telepathic fusions." "You're right. And I'm sorry. This was never supposed to happen." She stood and turned away, wrapping her arms around herself. Her voice trembled. "But you were dreaming something beautiful." I couldn't pull away. What was I dreaming? She hesitated. "About me. We were walking somewhere, holding hands. Laughing. You looked at me like I was yours." The breath caught in my throat. I couldn't deny it. I'd had that dream before. More than once. "Then what happened?" I asked, quieter now. "I don't know." Her shoulders dropped. Something inside me latched on. I felt it, warmth, safety. I didn't want to leave. For a moment, silence stretched between us like a thin film of glass. Then I whispered, "Did you feel what I felt?" She nodded, her voice almost inaudible. "Everything. Every heartbeat. Every longing. Every doubt. It was all vivid. Terrifying." Her words echoed inside me. Terrifying. I stood slowly. So this was just an accident? Yes. A pause. But maybe, not entirely. What does that mean? I think we were already beginning to sink. Even without contact. She turned toward me. Her eyes were wet, but unblinking. "Your emotions. They bleed out like sunlight. I don't know how to explain it." A silence wrapped us again, softer this time. I could hear the distant hum of the station's engines, the artificial gravity compressors cycling. "I didn't mean to invade you," she whispered. "On my planet, something like this would be considered sacred. But dangerous. You're human. You don't link. You weren't built for it." My pulse spiked. "So what now?" Zelari took a slow step toward me. "You're already inside me, and I'm inside you. We can try to break it. But if we do it wrong, we could both lose parts of ourselves." I stared at her, really stared. Her features were delicate, yes. Alien, yes. But something in her eyes felt human. No, more than human. Unfiltered. Honest. "But I never asked for this," I said, almost defensively. "I know." She reached out her hand, hovering it near mine. "You can walk away. If you want. I'll suppress it. The pain will be mine to carry." I didn't take her hand. "Not yet." Instead, I asked, "Did you see anything else, in my mind?" Zelari hesitated. "Just one thing." "What?" "You dreamed that I kissed you." I closed my eyes. I've had that dream too many times. And, she asked softly, and I always wake up before I know how it ends. She stepped closer, slowly lifting her hand to my cheek. The contact was electric, no, deeper. It was like our thoughts shifted a half-inch into each other, merging for a flicker of a second. Maybe you were never supposed to dream it, she said, her voice a breath against my lips. Maybe you were meant to live it. Her lips stopped inches from mine. Close enough to share breath, but not touch. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. But something passed between us. A wave. A pulse. Something so strong it buckled my knees. For a moment, I was no longer in the room. I was standing on a beach I'd never seen, with two suns in the sky, holding her hand as we laughed like children. I staggered back. My nose bled. Zalari caught me before I hit the floor. I told you, she whispered, cradling me gently, our minds weren't meant to hold each other. But, it's too late now. I saw something, I gasped, shaking. I saw your planet. She stiffened. No. You shouldn't have. I was there. You were holding my hand. We were happy. She stared at me, her body still. That memory was never yours. What does that mean? It was mine. A future I once hoped for. With someone I lost long ago. But I saw me. She pulled away like I'd burned her. Then the link is deeper than I feared. You're becoming part of it. Part of what? She looked at me with horror and longing. Part of a prophecy that was never supposed to reach your kind. I didn't sleep that night, not really. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw flashes. Her skin glowing beneath twin moons. The sound of her laugh in a place that didn't exist. Her hand reaching toward me through a sea of light. And then, every time, I'd wake up gasping. She was always there when I opened my eyes. Sitting across the room, legs folded beneath her, silent. Watching. She didn't speak much for the next few days. Neither did I. Something unspoken had settled between us, like fog that refused to lift. But we could feel each other. That was the worst and the best part. When she felt cold, my arms shivered. When I was anxious, her fingers trembled. If I got angry, she flinched before I even raised my voice. It was like we were echo chambers for each other's souls. By the third day, we stopped pretending. You're hurting, she said softly, sitting beside me on the observation bench near the dome. The stars stretched above us like frozen rain. I can feel it too, I admitted. She hesitated. It's not supposed to last this long. These kinds of links, they're temporary. Residual. This one, it's evolving. Into what? She didn't answer right away. Her hands pressed together, fingers interlaced. There are stories, myths among my people. Of something called a life tie. A bond so deep that when one feels love, the other feels it like truth. When one suffers, the other bleeds. When one dies. I turned sharply. Stop. She met my gaze. It's not supposed to happen with humans. Well, maybe your biology didn't read the manual, I said, trying to joke. My voice cracked. Or maybe we were meant to find each other. Her eyes glistened with something ancient and fragile. You don't know what you're saying. I know what I feel. I'm not even like you. I'm not even built the same way inside. I don't care. I feel you. She blinked. Then, slowly, she reached for my hand. Our fingers touched. It was like diving into a warm ocean. Thoughts surfaced that weren't mine, the weight of exile, the feeling of flying without wings, the sound of a child's voice saying her name for the last time. I pulled my hand back. I'm sorry. No, she grabbed it again, firmer this time. Don't be. Just, don't lie. Not here. Not now. I'm not lying. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Then tell me the truth. I want to kiss you. The silence that followed was not empty. It was full. I've wanted that since the day you arrived, she breathed. Then she leaned in. Slowly. Carefully. Not like a human would, with fire and desperation, but with reverence, like I was sacred. Her lips were impossibly soft. Warm. But that wasn't the shock. The moment they touched mine, something inside us ignited. My brain erupted in light. A cascade of memories, hers, mine, not ours, collided like meteors inside my skull. I saw her as a child, holding her mother's hand beneath violet trees. I felt her fear during her first trip off-world. I tasted the heartbreak of her last goodbye. And then I saw myself. Not from my eyes, from hers. The first day we met. The way she studied my laugh. The way she stayed up listening to my breathing the first night. The moment she realized she was falling for me. I gasped and tore away from the kiss, stumbling backwards. She collapsed, clutching her head. No, I didn't mean to. My knees hit the floor. My chest burned. What was that? A psychic collapse. Our neural fields, they merged too fast. Is that normal? No, her voice shook. It's fatal, in some cases. Well, that's great news. I snapped, panic boiling. She crawled to me, hands trembling. But we're alive. That's what matters. We survived the surge. I looked at her, breathing heavily. You felt what I felt. All of it. She nodded. I know now. You weren't just dreaming. You wanted me. I still do. She closed her eyes. Then we're not just bonded. We're chosen. What does that mean? It means there's no turning back. We sat there in the quiet for a long time. But peace never lasts long on a station like this. Later that night, my comm pad lit up with a secure ping. A message from Station Command. Roommate assignment 7G. Urgent evaluation required. Your presence is mandatory. I turned to Zelari, already knowing. They know. She stood slowly. My species monitors psychic surges across interstellar ranges. They'll have felt that kiss. They'll know I violated protocol. I kissed you. She smiled sadly. But I let you. The next morning, we were separated. 2 guards waited at the door. They didn't touch her, but the way they looked at her was cold, reverent, and disgusted all at once. They called her tarnished. They said I had to be tested for contamination. The room they put me in was white. Bright. Sterile. I sat on a stool while machines scanned my head. A human doctor stepped in. We've detected residual telepathic fusion. No kidding, I muttered. You should be in a coma. Or worse. Her species doesn't link with ours. Not successfully. And yet, here I am. Here you are, he agreed, slowly. But for how long? I didn't answer. They let me out after 6 hours. When I got back, she was gone. Only one thing was left behind, her crystal, still faintly glowing, resting on the pillow. When I picked it up, I heard her voice, not out loud, but in my head. I'm sorry. They're taking me home. If you feel me again, follow it. I'll be waiting. She was gone. The room felt colder without her, emptier in a way the air couldn't explain. I walked in and just stood there, still holding her crystal, like it might suddenly glow brighter and bring her back. But it didn't. No goodbye. No farewell touch. Just that psychic whisper still echoing in the hollow of my skull. If you feel me again, follow it. I'll be waiting. I didn't sleep for days. And when I did, I dreamed of her. But not in the soft, warm way I used to. Now the dreams were sharp, jagged flashes of her screaming, restrained by cold metal cuffs, surrounded by those same cold-eyed enforcers. I tried to get answers. The station commander wouldn't even look me in the eye. She's not your concern anymore, he said, dismissing me like a child who'd lost a toy. She's not property. She's a person. She has a name. That may be. But under interspecies protocol, her government has full jurisdiction. They took her peacefully. Peacefully? I laughed bitterly. I could feel her panic. He raised an eyebrow. You're still bonded? I didn't answer. But he knew. The connection wasn't fading. If anything, it was stronger. I could feel her emotions flickering like static. Pain, fear, loneliness, and something else. Hope. Hope aimed at me. So I did the only thing I could. I stopped waiting. And I started planning. The next week was a blur of stolen tech, shady deals, and encrypted messages passed through backchannels. A friend of a friend, a rogue Vanassi smuggler named Kaolen, agreed to help. For a price. You want to sneak onto a classified planet of telepaths who can detect a lie before you even think it? He asked, raising a brow stalk. Either you're in love or insane. Both, I said. He grinned. Good. The best plans start with that. The journey was rough. We had to pass through 3 restricted wormholes, forge identity implants, and bribe a border sentinel with 2 bars of raw Terran gold. But we made it. Her world was unlike anything I'd seen: endless violet fields under golden skies, floating structures that pulsed with mental energy. Every building seemed alive, resonating with thought. But I didn't have time to admire it. We landed in the outer territories, near the memory spires. That's where she was. Not prison. Worse. The memory erasure sanctum. A place her kind used to silence those who had felt too much. I disguised myself as a station archivist and slipped in during their starlight ritual. The minds around me buzzed like static, distant whispers I tried to block out. Then I felt her. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't a thought. It was pull. Like gravity in my chest. She was close. I followed it through the crystalline corridors until I reached the chamber. 2 guards stood at the entrance. They never saw me coming. I didn't kill them, I couldn't, but I stunned them with a borrowed neural pulse stick and slid through the door. Inside, she was lying on a silver slab, eyes closed, surrounded by floating orbs of light. Her skin was pale, her glow nearly gone. I ran to her. Zelari. Zelari, it's me. Her eyes fluttered. Then opened. And when they locked with mine, I felt everything. Love. Relief. Regret. And fear. I told you not to follow, she whispered weakly. I don't care, I said, brushing hair from her face. You think I could live knowing they wiped you out of me? A single tear slid down her cheek. They started the purge already, she said. You came too late. No, I said, gripping her hand. It's still there. I can feel you. She closed her eyes again. Then there's still a chance. For what? For reclaiming it. The purge orbs began pulsing red as we touched. The chamber trembled. And then it happened. A rebound. Her memories, hers and mine, surged between us like a supernova. The link, long dormant, flared to life. The entire room bathed in brilliant light. Visions struck like lightning: our kiss, the stars over Earth, the fields of her home planet, our first laugh, our last look. The orbs cracked, one by one. And she sat up, gasping. They tried to break me, she whispered, but I remembered you. We didn't have long. Alarms blared. I helped her to her feet. She was weak, but her glow had returned. We ran through the corridor, dodging guards, psychic barriers, mind traps. But the bond was a compass, we knew where to go. We moved like one being with 2 hearts. At the hangar, Kaolen waited, engine hot. You sure know how to make an exit, he yelled. But just as we reached the ramp, a dozen of her people surrounded us. Eyes glowing, weapons drawn. The elder stepped forward. You've committed an abomination. Zelari stepped in front of me. I chose this. You taught us that choice is sacred. You have tainted yourself. Then so be it. I grabbed her hand. The elder raised his staff. Step away from the human. Now. I'd rather die, she said. No, I whispered. There has to be another way. And then, she let go of my hand. Turned toward me. And whispered, trust me. Before I could speak, she stepped forward and dropped to her knees. I give myself willingly, she said. The elder paused. Confused. Let the human go. I surrender. Erase me. Just, don't hurt him. My throat closed. No, Zelari, no. Her eyes met mine, full of tears and love. You found me. That's all I ever wanted. Then they pulled her away. I was thrown onto the ship. Kaolen blasted off before I could stop him. Why'd she do that? He asked. I couldn't answer. I just collapsed, holding the glowing crystal still warm from her body. But before we jumped to warp, my mind trembled. A whisper echoed through me, not hers, but something else. The bond is not broken. It was never hers to give. And I knew. She wasn't gone. Not yet. End of section 3. Would you like me to continue with Section 4? The ship floated in silence, but inside me, the storm wouldn't stop. I sat alone in the dark cabin, gripping her crystal. It had stopped glowing. I told myself she was still alive, that the bond was only dormant. But every hour that passed, it faded further. The thread between us, once electric and alive, now barely whispered. And yet, I couldn't let go. Because that voice, just before we jumped into warp, had echoed in my skull like a sacred vow. The bond is not broken. It was never hers to give. Someone, something, was still holding us together. Back on the rogue station, Kaolen offered no comfort. She sacrificed herself, he said flatly. That's what love looks like where she's from. Devotion to the point of annihilation. I couldn't accept that. Because I knew her. Zalari didn't surrender without purpose. So I dove into the archives. I hacked, I bartered, I risked everything just to access one forbidden library, ancient texts from her species, half erased from intergalactic records. There, buried deep, I found it. A myth. A prophecy. A story of two minds, one of stars, one of flame, that were never meant to meet. Yet when they did, the universe rewrote itself to keep them joined. The story ended with a line that pierced through me like fire. If the bond is true, not even death will erase it. The hearts will always return, through dream, through memory, through time. And I knew what I had to do. There was one last way to reach her. Dangerous. Illegal. Nearly suicidal. A technology once used during the war, a consciousness injection system. Designed to retrieve lost operatives trapped in psychic voids. Now banned across most civilized systems. Too unstable. Too unpredictable. But I had nothing left to lose. Kaolen said I was insane. I agreed. We wired it up. Strapped in. I held her crystal to my chest, just before pressing the final sequence. Bring her back to me, I whispered. Or let me go to her. Then the world turned to light. I fell through stars. Through memory. Through echoes. Time lost all shape. My body wasn't mine anymore. I was thought. I was hope. And then I saw her. She stood alone in a field of violet light. Her hair floated like mist. Her skin was pale, and her eyes were distant like she'd forgotten her name. Forgotten me. Zalari. I called out. No answer. I ran to her. My feet didn't touch anything real, but I moved. Faster. Zalari, it's me. Please. Come back. She turned slowly. Her eyes were glassy. Blank. Then she blinked. Once. Twice. And whispered, You. It's me. I came for you. You're not real. You're part of the purge. A memory fragment. No, I said, grabbing her hands. I'm real. I crossed through to get here. She gasped softly. Your hands are warm. That's because I never stopped burning for you. Her eyes shimmered. And for a split second, the glow returned. I pulled her close. I remember everything. The kiss. The stars. The dreams. I remember us. A tear fell from her eye. I didn't forget, she whispered. I tried to lock it away, but it wouldn't stay gone. Because it's not just memory. It's real. We're real. Light surged around us, bright, golden. The void trembled. Suddenly, I could feel her fully again. Her laugh. Her fear. Her love. The bond was back. But now, it was something more. It wasn't just thought or feeling, it was choice. We stood in a swirl of brilliance, and for the first time, I saw the truth. We had created something that had never existed before. A new kind of being. A shared soul. Two hearts, one frequency. When I opened my eyes, I was lying in Kaolen's med bay. Alive. Shaking. And not alone. She was there. Real. Breathing. Her hand wrapped around mine. I stared at her, afraid to speak in case it shattered. But she smiled. And whispered, Told you I'd wait. The galaxy reacted like fire to dry leaves. Our return was controversial, to say the least. Station Command labeled me as mentally contaminated. Her people declared her unclassified, an exile without a home. But we didn't care. Because we had each other. We became legend. Not heroes. Not rebels. Something stranger. A symbol. They tried to study us. Understand the connection. But no scanner could map a bond built on shared memory, mutual sacrifice, and raw, human love. The scientists gave up. The poets began writing. Years passed. We built a life. Not on Earth. Not on her planet. But in between. A drifting home among the stars. A vessel where no race, no flag, no rulebook defined us. And we welcomed others like us. Misfits. Dreamers. Lovers who crossed lines they were told never to touch. We became more than a couple. We became a movement. Not just about love, but about choice. Because in the end, that's what it was. Not fate. Not biology. Not prophecy. Just a boy who reached across stars for the girl who haunted his dreams. And a girl who chose to believe he was real. Sometimes, late at night, we lie in the ship's glass dome, watching the galaxies drift by. She still glows. I still burn. And when I hold her, I feel it again, the first time, the last time, every time in between. She turns to me and whispers, "No matter what species we are, you're my home." And I whisper back, "And you're my forever."